Hello YouTube, it's Willway here, and today I'll be showing you a very speedy method to factor difficult trinomials. This method was passed to me by my grade 12 functions teacher, and now I am passing it on to you guys. I call it the fraction method, because it involves fractions to help you to factor. The first step in this method is to multiply a and c. Now the a value here is 2, and the c value is 6. As shown in our standard form equation. Now, when we multiply this, we will get a product of 12. Now, the next step is to find two numbers that multiply together to equal 12 and have a sum of 7, which is our b. So, to find this, I usually like to make a table with 3 columns. The first 2 columns will be all the numbers that multiply together to equal 12. So you'll have 1 and 12. You also have 2 and 6. You also have 3 and 4. -1 and -12. -2 and -6. And finally, -3 and -4. Now you're going to add up these rows to see what the sum is. So this is 13, 8, 7, -13, -8, and -7. Now you want two numbers that multiply together to get you 12 and add up together to get you 7. So in this case, that would be 3 and 4. Now, the next step is to take your a value and use it as a numerator for these two numbers. So we're going to change these numbers into fractions. So the first one will be 2/3, and the second one will be 2/4. Now next, you'll have to simplify any of them. So this one, you'll have to simplify it into 1/2. Now the final step is basically you're done. You're going to take these numbers and you're just going to swap it into the factored form equation. So your answer is going to be 2x plus 3. That's going to be your first section in the factored form. And the second one is going to be x plus 2, as shown here. So now if you multiply these two together, you will get your original equation. So this is my fast way of factoring. Let's try it with another example. This time we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now you're going to have to multiply a and 6. So a right now is 1 because x doesn't have a coefficient in front of it. So it's assumed to be 1. So you're going to multiply 1 and 6, which is 6. And now you're going to have to find two numbers that multiply together to equal 6, but also add up to equal 5. So I'm not going to list out the chart, but you can if you want. The two numbers are 2 and 3. Now we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to take a, and we're going to put it as a numerator and make these fractions. So we're going to get 1/2 and 1/3. And now our final step is to take these fractions and just put it into the factored form equation, in which case you will get x plus 2 and x plus 3. So that will be your final factored form solution. Next, let's try something a little bit harder. 10x squared minus x minus 3. So you're going to do the same thing. Multiply a and c. A is 10 and c is -3 because there's a minus sign here. So your product is going to be -30. Now you're going to have to find two numbers that multiply to get -30 and add to get -1 because -1 is our b value. So those two numbers are 5 and -6. Write out the 5 a little bit more clearer. Next, you'll take the a value and put it on the numerator. So you'll have 10 over 5 and 10 over 6. Now just simplify. So 10 over 5 is going to simplify to 2 over 1, and 10 over 6 is going to simplify to 5 over -3. Now, just take your fractions, your simplified fractions, and just substitute it into the factored equation. So you're going to get 2x plus 1, and then you're going to get 5x minus 3. Notice that it's minus 3 because the 3 here is negative. There you go. You're now done the factored form of 10x squared minus x minus 3. Now for our final example, I forgot to mention that if you have an equation that has either coefficients or variables that can already be factored out before we start the actual factoring, then you must do that first. So this is an example of what that would be. So in each one of these, you can factor out 5x. So we're going to do that first. We're going to factor out 5x. So that will leave 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. In this way, you'll have a much simpler equation to factor than the entire thing. So now all you have to worry about is what's inside of this parentheses. So now we'll do the exact same as we did before. Multiply a and c, which is 2 and negative 12, in which you will get negative 24 as the product. Now, you will have to find two numbers that multiply together to get you negative 24 and add up together to give you negative 5. Those two numbers are 3 and negative 8. Now you're going to do the same thing as before and take your a value, 2, to put it on top as the numerator. Now once you simplify the second one to 1 over negative 4, you are done factoring. Your final equation should look like this. The 5x that we first factored out, and then the first one, which is 2x plus 3, and then your second one, which is x minus 4. So this should be your final result. That was my tutorial. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want. And I will see you in my next video. Peace.